All right, so we're going to go through and do follow up on some of the stuff we've learned about jQuery. And what we really want to do here, you've learned some of the basics. We want to just show how much more we can do in terms of selecting elements on the page, and then how we then can use different events to change what's going on the page. So what we're going to do here is we're going to use something we've already learned, which is the click function, or the click action, to trigger a function which will then hide specific elements on the page based on what selectors we use. Selector is sort of what we did on the previous lesson, saying we want to select this an element that has this ID, but we're going to use some different things. We're going to select all elements that have a specific tag, like paragraph, or we're going to select all the elements that have a specific class, and we're going to just get rid of some things and change the colors of things. The goal here is to understand how selectors work, okay? So you should have this as your startup code. Remember, we have to call the jQuery library, and then we have this sort of default script here within the script tags that says when the document loads, we want, when the document is ready, which means it's done loading, run this function. And then in this function, we basically are saying, is all the code that we want to go into the page. And in this case, we're going to use this button that I have on the page, this button, and we're going to say when this button is clicked, so we're saying button, $sign specifies that we're calling jQuery, and then what selector we're going to use is right here. That's the button. And then when that's clicked, this is our event that we are going to run this function. And then we're going to do some actions onto that. All right? So right now, let's just see what the page looks like. We have a paragraph, a paragraph, a paragraph, and then 3 div tags. And this is a paragraph that has no class or ID associated with it. This is a paragraph that does have a class. This is no class. And then these are div tags that have specific classes. All right. The first thing we're going to do is what we did in the previous lesson, which is use by ID. Okay, so let's go in here. Right now, if I click this, there's no code, so it doesn't do anything, right? There's nothing. I click the button and nothing happens. But what we're going to do here first is we're going to say that we want to just anything that has the ID. Okay, so we're going to use our selector, which is with an ID of OID, and we're going to have that hide. All right, and that's the action when this is selected. It's okay. This goes. This is a selector, then this is the event, clicking, and then this is the action or method, hide. So what we're going to do is, when that is clicked, it's going to run this and it's going to hide any element that has the ID of OID. All right? We already did this in the previous lesson, just a little review. So which one do we expect to go away? There's only one that has an ID of OID, and it's this one, div tag. So that disappears. All right, that's cool. Now what if we wanted to get rid of anything that had the element that was the element of a paragraph? Let's do that. By that, we just specify P, okay? Not the pound sign for an ID, not the period for a class, just the element P, okay? So right now I'm going to click this, and anything that has a paragraph, right, anything here that is a P tag, it's going to disappear. It's going to take it off the page. They all disappear, right? I could do the same thing with the div tag. And they disappear. All right, great. So now, what if I wanted to make everything disappear? Well, jQuery gives you a little tool here, and you can just put an asterisk, and that says anything on the page I want to disappear. Everything, right? So it just goes through and it eliminates everything. You can do something where you can use this. This means whatever is clicked, that's your selector. So in this situation, I'm going to click this. Now, if I do that, what should disappear? Is it going to be this? If I click this button, what's going to disappear? Little trick. If I click the button, that's going to disappear because that's that's the thing that I clicked, okay? Now, here's something cool, and this is something I didn't really share with you. Remember, if you guys remember the code, like if I wanted to make something hide, I had to go in JavaScript, I'd have to do document get element by ID, and then I'd say OID, and then I'd say display equal, oh no, I forgot another piece. I'd have to go style display equals none, right? And at that point, that would be what I would do in order to make it go away. So this, remember, is write less, do more. So now I have this hide functionality that makes things disappear. And we're going to go through some of additional things like toggling and fading in and out and doing all kinds of fun stuff that is available to us because of this script library. But first, today, we're just saying we want to know how to pick what we want to disappear. And something that I never even showed you in JavaScript because it required using an array and creating an array of every class, every element that had a class on the page. I'm going to show you here. And that's that I can select anything that has a class, and I do that. So what do we have on this page that has a class? So this has a class, this has a class, this has a class. So I can specify and say I only want to disappear or hide items that have a class of OClass. Now remember how we do class. Period, OClass. And at this point, I'm going to, if I click this button, it's going to make anything that has a class of OClass disappear. So what's that? Is that going to go? That doesn't have a class. This one is, this one is, this one is, this one's going to stay, this one's going to stay. You see? So you can control everything that you want on the page. And you can even take it a little bit further. Let's say that I don't want everything that has a class to disappear. I only want paragraphs that have a class to disappear. Well, you know how to do that in style. You can do that with your style sheet, right? In this, I'm having every paragraph and div element in the page have a border and padding and margin. But what I can do here is I can say I only want to disappear paragraph elements with a class of OClass. So the only thing that's going to disappear is this one, because these have a class of OClass, but they're not paragraphs. All right? So you have a lot of control. Now, I'm going to leave you with that. Your assignment is to just go and experiment with these different selectors. Tomorrow we're going to, or next lesson, we're going to go over a few additional selectors that you can use. But right now, you think about it. You can select every element on the page. You can select every element by its name. You can select every element by its class. You can select every element by its ID. You can select certain elements that have certain classes or certain elements that have certain IDs. You can really do all kinds of cool stuff, right? So I want to show you another event that you can trigger. And we did this on the last lesson, so this is just a review. But you can change that from, rather than hiding it, rather than that being the action that you apply to whatever element you select with the selector and the event, right? This is the selector, and then this is the event, and then this is the action or the method that you're invoking. And in that case, what we've done so far is hide. But here you can also change its color. So let's just do color, and remember we do color, comma, and then we put in whatever it's supposed to be. So let's just say red. And now I'm going to change any paragraph that has a class of OClass to red. Right? Now if I wanted to, I can change everything. Right? I can change everything to red with this. Or I can change only the button to red. Or I can change all the paragraph tags to red. Or I can change all the div or anything that has a certain OID or a certain ID to red. So remember, you have a lot of control, and we're going to finish up with going through selectors tomorrow, a couple cool things you can do with selectors, and then we're just going to experiment with what we can do to them. Now, remember, if we can change the style of that element, then that means we can make things bigger, we can make things smaller, we can move things around. Remember some of our CSS like transforms and translates and rotates and skews. We can do all kinds of things with buttons. So I can start really manipulating the look and feel of the site based on user interaction. All right, but your assignment right now is to